Good morning from the shed. Today I'm going to have a go with a range of bits and pieces, a bit of tat here and there to experiment with some mark making and little lids and things, a little bit of cardboard, a little bit of packaging, I don't know what it's going to do, and then a few scraper tools. See if we can get some marks, some ruined brushes, old household paint brushes, plastic fork and another scraper. So these are at my disposal. How I'm going to use them, not a clue, but I just thought it would be a little bit of fun play to challenge my morning brain. And I might use the jelly plate as a palette, and then I may do a bit of printing with that. I've got some acrylics today, so I don't know why I've gone for these colours. I thought I was drawn to them. A little bit of gold in the mix. My favourite Naples yellow hue. Absolutely love that. Maybe get some bright fluorescent pink, who knows. So I'm going to get the pinks in there, and then some darker green of Iridian. I don't know whether I'm going to use all of these, but they are there, and whatever else comes into play. And I've got this paper is actually from I've been doing most of my big pieces on here. Sorry, it's not, but it's a Madagascar acid-free, 300 grams. It's textured on one side. Don't know if you can see that. A little bit of a texture, but I'm going on the smooth side just to see. I usually stick with the textured side, but I thought I'd try something different. So, without further ado, let's do a little bit of mark making, and we'll see what happens. So in my usual style, I'm just going to blob a little bit of paint on, and let's just zhuzh it around with my first tool of the day. Don't worry if you didn't. Right, a little bit of that. Oh, that's what I love about acrylics and swiping the paint, because you kind of know it dries pretty quick. Let's see what we can make on here. Let's go straight in with the gel printer, and I'm thinking about getting a little roller. Okay then, try and get it on camera. I want this to be pretty rough, so see what happens. Just using a fork, and see what that does. Right from the start, I'm not very flat on here today. Right, okay then. Could put a few little extra marks. Right, okay then. So nice and bright. What do we do next? We're going to go in for the pink, or we're going to go in for the blue? Decisions. I think what I'm going to do is add, hopefully you can see that on camera. Right, I'm going to put a little bit of paint on the jelly pad again, a bit of turquoise, and iridescent blue-green. I do like you probably guess that now, I'm loving a little bit of metallic iridescence. Really like that. So what I'm thinking is actually yeah, probably got more on the edges on that. Maybe I need to revise my paintbrush here. Hang on. Don't want it all round the edges, do we? Actually, again, I've never done this before with these bits of stuff. I'm just playing, just intrigued to know if they will create something nice. And you can raid your recycle bin. That's what I do. Raid the recycle bin, see what you can do with the bits in your art. Oh, let's go for this one. It's trial and error. Just plonk it on there. Right, okay. Let's see if we can recover. Go again. Just creating texture by doing this, really. Actually, I might. I need to put a proper board. I'm on a board, and then I've got an old canvas underneath that I'm working on, and then I should put another board on it, really. Let's see if we can get just a little bit more just at the top. Right, okay, so that's a start. I'm just going to pop the board underneath. Make that two. And then that will give us something to press on. Oh, that's better. I don't know why I didn't do that in the beginning. There we go. Right, what else can we do with the blue, the turquoise? Some random marks with a brush, just to finish off the paint. Right, we've made a start. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I know what I was going to say while that's drying. Got myself a new ring by Lou Glass, a lovely lady that creates with all her handmade pieces from glass, and I am loving this ring. So this ring, hopefully you can see, that is featuring today. Happy days. Thank you, Lucas. There we go. Right, what's next? Pinky, pinky, pinky. What are we going to do with this? What's this? What's there? This is a, you know, like you get your tube paints, but I quite like the pattern it makes. So this time I'm just gonna get both these colours and I'm just gonna paint them on. I'm still using my jelly mat as my palette at this time, and I'll just get my brushes. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, so just wiping it on. It might work, it might not, but hey ho. Just want to see what it does, just to get started. Now, I don't think this is going to be that opaque. break, and then I'll come back, and I think I want to fine tune some of the marks so that they're not completely lost. But for now, so I just had I feel that I want to put a little bit of white, going a little bit lighter. Just put a tiny little bit of white, maybe. So again, here I am just taking a cheap old brush and creating a range of marks which are giving me immense joy at this time. Okay, I am going to leave it there and have a break. Let's see what happens when I come back. Happy days. Right, I'll be back. Bye for now. Welcome back. I've had a break. The piece that I've been doing this morning has dried. Had a second cup of coffee, so that should set things in motion. And I'm thinking I want to bring in a little bit more turquoise and white, so that's a plan, and maybe a bit of metallic gold. Try that. I've got some children's paintbrushes here, which I might see what I can do with those. Another round bit, I don't know if I'm going to use that, and then I may do a little bit of doodling with some gold, white and black acrylic pens. That's what I think I'm going to do in my little head. That's and actually I might use the end of the egg carton, so I think I'm going to start with that. Before I forget, I was using my jelly mat as a template. I'll continue to do that, and then just after I finished filming, I zhuzhed it up, put a little bit of my Naples yellow on there, and then created a nice piece on the newsprint, which, yeah, I'm loving that. I think that's pretty cool. So a nice extra bit of art from cleaning up and the palette. So you might notice, compared to some artists, that I'm a little bit more frugal with my paint. I don't know, I'm a frugal person that doesn't like waste, but maybe I need to just learn to let myself go sometimes. But anyway, at the moment, that's how I roll. So I want to brighten it up a little bit. Let's see what happens. I'm going to need a bit more paint on these, to be fair, so come on, let's go out your comfort zone and see what happens when I put a load of paint on these. So yeah, don't want it, because it's probably going to soak in pretty quick, so more is better in this instance. Right, I think I'm going to go right there. This is the first time. I'm an egg carton newbie. Well, okay then. So maybe it does need even more paint, so let's just go for it. I'm the same with you know, like body lotions and things like that, and anything that comes out of a tube. I'm a bit frugal. No idea why. Okay, so it's a bit of random. So this whole piece intuitively pieced together, coming together, creating shape and form with bits and bobs. So that's where we're at. Bits and bobs. I like the white in this turquoise. Just about getting that on there. I'm not sure if I'm totally convinced by the egg carton, but it was. I like the colour, but I think I might have to block it a little bit because I'm not fully committed to that at this time. We'll see. The great thing about a piece like this is the layers. The more you layer, the more interest is added, and potentially I might think about bringing in the gold now. And let's try these kiddies paintbrushes. Let's see how they function. In with the swirls. So some things I like more than others, but it's really good to have a go see what happens. And like you're watching me now, you can always paint over it if you're not keen. Try a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and the journey continues. Maybe the brush is the way to go in this instance. I like the it's quite a this is quite a stiff brush, which I like. I feel like I'm doodling with a brush. Just doodling. You can always tell when I go quiet. I'm enjoying it. It's getting to that therapeutic stage. It's a shame we can't have background music. The gold's becoming more pronounced, look, it's taken over. But what I think I'm going to do is go back to the turquoise with a little bit of white in it, and I quite like the texture, look, with a little bit more heavy-handed with the paint, and it's I'm liking that effect, so let's keep doing that. It's amazing that you can grab things which would potentially not be considered as tools of the artist. And go with the flow. Right, okay then, let's go back in and see what we can do with this lighter turquoise. What's this one? Copper. Yeah, copper. That's what I meant. I knew it was copper, really. Right, just thinking, just pondering, just having a moment. There's a lot going on, and I'm going to leave it there for now. So I'll tell you what we'll do a reveal. It might be that I'm going to tweak it again, I don't know yet, but at this point I feel it's time to take off the tape. What I am happy with is the colours, the choice of the colour palette today. I don't know, I just went with what I felt at the time, and I would definitely use these colours again. It's ripping the paper a little bit, but it's and also having the opportunity to use the smooth side of the paper. I'm glad that I did that. So all in all, as per, a most enjoyable morning, getting towards lunchtime session. Oops, ripping the paper, which has ended up with a creation, which I'm happy with. So let's see. I mean, again, we don't know yet if, just get the detail in there, just go along, if this is going to stay as one big piece. I'll do it over near the light, that'd help. You might be able to see the shiny. But the layers, starting with all those bits and bobs. So this is bits and bobs. Is it going to be portrait? Is it going to be landscape? Dun dun dun. Have to wait and see, folks. Anyway, thank you for joining me on that. I hope you enjoyed it. And like, follow, subscribe for more. Bye for now.